Today in Korea, it is Teacher's Day. Now, the reason Teacher's Day is on May 15th is because it is the birthday of King Sejong, the creator of Hangul. Now, to commemorate this day, I'd like to share with you one of his famous sayings. The road is rough, but there's always a way. I think many of us, myself included, have always contemplated the path ahead in life. We can try to carry all of this wisdom with the great teacher, King Sejong, with us in our hearts. Yes, this is Culture Crunch's DJ Joel, and today we have a very special guest for Creme de la Creme, someone who must have gone through tremendous hesitation, standing before many crossroads in life. But before we meet him, we are going to listen to a song. This is Hik by Teen Top. If success is your goal, tune in to Creme de la Creme as we learn all of the top secrets from the people in their respective fields. Now today we have a guest with a very, very unique perspective on Korea, and I'm excited to learn all about it, living here in Korea as an author who wrote a historical novel about Korea. Please welcome Daniel Tudor to the studio.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yes, please introduce yourself to our lovely listeners.
Okay, my name's Daniel Tudor. I'm from Manchester in England. I've been living in Korea about 15, 16 years maybe. I've lost count even. But I first came here as a tourist during the World Cup of 2002.
Yeah, a very fun time.
Yeah. And since then, I graduated from university and I came back here. I thought I'd like to live in Korea for a while. And then, 1 year became, as I said, 15, 16.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I've done pretty much every kind of job you can imagine. But yeah, the one that stuck, I guess, was writing. So I've been a journalist for a magazine called The Economist.
Yes.
And I've written a few books about Korea. I'm trying to branch out at the moment, actually. Get away from writing about Korea, because I've said too much about Korea. So writing is the main one. And I've had a few business I co-founded a few companies here.
Some entrepreneurship activity.
Yeah. You have to live. I mean, I think writing isn't a good way to make enough money to live on. Yeah.
Well, we are going to get a lot into the writing, because the aspect of your writing and then the things that you write about up until now, like, they're very fascinating. But first of all, I want to congratulate you on the birth of your second daughter.
Thank you,
Lily. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She was born in February, if
That's
I'm
right,
correct, right?
She's 3 months old now.
Wow. See, I'm looking here. You are the daughter, or not the daughter, the father of two daughters now.
Yeah.
Wow. I must say though, that must be pretty difficult though.
It is. Yeah.
You know?
So I'm really very involved in looking after them. I'm not one of those dads who's just out of the house all day. So yeah, it is tough. And I think just say 3 years ago, me and my wife were just dating, just knowing each other. You have nice days out somewhere, very romantic and so on. And now it's really kind of full on. Change the baby, feed the baby. The baby's crying. What do you do? And it is
a lot of
really
work.
tough.
Yeah. Not that I would know, because I'm not a dad. But I must say, it's a full-time job, and life moves fast. I'm sure you're already surprised about how fast they've grown. Since they've been born. Both of them.
Yeah, the first one, she's running around and she's going to Egypt, the nursery, kindergarten, whatever you call it. And already quite a sort of rebellious or kind of resistant streak to parental pressure or parental demands.
Well, you better get used to it. I do got to ask though, when it comes to, your profession, which is a writer, right? So between being a parent and writing, they each come with their own challenges, but which one do you think you find to be more challenging in your personal opinion?
I'd say parenting, to be honest. Because you're always tired.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're tired, your wife's tired, what happens is the smallest thing becomes a source of great annoyance.
Right. You're very yamine, or very sensitive.
Something that's really trivial annoys you. And then you kind of take it out on your wife, perhaps. You might say something a bit too much or in a certain tone of voice, and then she takes that and she's annoyed, and then it's a vicious circle of
it's when I see like a lot of my friends, they have kids now and stuff like that. When I look at them, I have a newfound respect for my parents, because it looks so difficult.
Completely.
Yes, but of course, we, as a writer, we did briefly mention that you wrote a historical novel about Korea, and I'm so excited to talk about it, because injecting myself a little bit into this situation, it has become my nightly ritual, I guess you could say, to open up sources about Korean history. I'm not lying. I'm not saying that just for this broadcast. I actually do this. And right now I'm deeply, kind of studying a lot about Joseon. The Joseon dynasty and also the Korean Empire, that era of Korean history. So I want to get into your book, because I'm so excited to listen or hear about it. So, I mean, would you please kind of explain a little bit about your book? Like, what's it about? Like, what's going on? The Last Prince.
Right, okay. So
마지막 왕국.
There's the person in question, the Last Prince, he is a man named Lee Gang, who was the son of Gojong.
Right.
Not technically the last king of Korea, but kind of the last king that people think of. Yeah. And he wasn't the kind of official, if you like, son who was destined to become king, crown prince. He was the son of the king and a concubine. Right? And so that always comes with certain,
of course,
troubles and pressures and what have you, and sort of psychological burdens. But he's coming of age in a time where Korea is really going from going from feudalism into modernity by force from Japan. And so you have this great turbulent background, and in his own life there is great turbulence as well. He's somebody who's not really known that much. He's not really talked about.
Right.
I mean, generally the royal family of that period, they become kind of forgotten.
Right.
So after Gojong, it's kind of
I'd imagine this is just well let me first establish that this is a work of fact and fiction.
Yeah, right,
so it's kind of like a meeting in the middle. And what I think is really funny is that, as you mentioned, this is the transitional period between Joseon and then the Korean Empire. Of course, with the royal family as well, it was very turbulent, but the nation in general was going through a lot. But why did you choose this period of all of them?
I'm not really interested in sort of great rulers and kind of big man kind of big man history. I'm interested in turbulent times, and I'm interested in what happens to people who have power but then lose it. Like, what's the psychological impact?
Oh yeah, definitely.
How does that feel? I think that's a richer territory for a story, but also for the emotional exploration of a person. And so I think he's a perfect character because he's full of flaws, but also he has a great sense of purpose as well in regard to his country's situation.
Right.
And he's kind of a roguish character as well, quite charming, like to drink, like women, and so on. And so there's a lot of there's a lot of richness to build a story around this guy. And also, he was one of the first Koreans to ever study and live in America.
Oh, yes.
And so that I mean, he's a pioneer in that respect, because now there's lots and lots of millions of Koreans who studied and lived in America, but he was one of the very first ones. So that in itself is quite interesting.
Right.
And the potential for sort of cultural misunderstandings and so on, that creates a certain richness for a story too, I think, and for characters. The character and the background, the historical background, was fascinating. Also, I had a way into the story that I hadn't expected. So when I was a journalist, I interviewed a man named Lee Seok, who he was a pop star in the 60s. He sang a song called Bidulgijip, that apparently is sung at weddings sometimes. He was also in the Vietnam War. He'd been homeless. He'd been he'd lived in America as an illegal immigrant for a while. He cleaned people's swimming pools. He ran a liquor store, selling whiskey and whatever to people that got robbed several times.
Right. Good heavens.
Came back to Korea, was I think living in a jjimjilbang, like the sauna. So he had a really, really difficult life, and married and divorced a bunch of times too. And so really up and down kind of life. But he's actually the son of this prince. So technically this guy is also, he would be a prince if they still had princes.
I was figuring that, listening to the last name, because Lee is, of course, the royal family of the Joseon period. But so you did have a way in. But there's another. There's another key character in the book that I did want to speak about, and that was an independence activist named Kim Lansa. Which is a character, or not character, but a person not well known here in Korea even. So can you explain a little bit about her?
It's so sad that people don't know very much about her now. So she is a pioneer of women's education. So she was a woman who had a great desire personally for education. So she went to this school, Iwahakdang, which was one of the first schools for girls in Korea. And she was already married at that point. Now that school had a rule against married students.
Really?
You have to be unmarried to go to that school. I don't know why, but anyway, they had that rule. And she repeatedly went to the principal of the school, please let me in, please let me in. And they had candlelight back then. They're not electric. I mean, I think Gojong maybe had some electric lights, but the rest of the country didn't have electric lights. And so she was in the principal's office, and the candle was glowing. And this is a young, probably teenage student. She blows out the candle and goes, principal, okay, this is how I'm living. Like, I'm in the dark. I'm in the darkness. Will you please allow me to see the light? Right? Show me the light.
Oh, that's so like 멋있어요.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right,
It's like so
right,
cool.
right,
Like, you know what I mean? The image of it. Yeah.
So that persuaded the principal, and this is an American woman who's part of the missionary. Anyway, so she goes to that school, and there she learns sort of modern. She has a modern education, American education. And also in English. So then there's this desire grows in her to go to America and study. So she goes there and studies at, I think it's called Ohio West. I mean, it's literally a year since I finished this book, so I'm forgetting certain details. I think it's Ohio Wesleyan University. Yeah,
a lot of details.
Yeah, which is where she meets Igang.
Okay.
But anyway, so she has this desire for education. She comes back, and then her desire is to help all Korean girls to become educated, which completely radical at the time. Like, really, girls educated? That was the thing. But anyway, so she's involved in that. She's establishing schools and serving as, I think, the vice principal of Iwahakdang, the school that she went to originally.
Yeah.
And at the same time, she's involved in independence activism. And so, actually, so spoiler, the end of her story is in Beijing. So she's undertaking a secret mission to take documents from Gojong and Yigang to Paris, where they're having the peace convention, in order to plead a case for Korea.
Yes.
As an independent country.
Against the occupation and all that.
Yeah. There was the spirit of the times where Woodrow Wilson had this whole thing about self-determination, which eventually came to nothing. But anyway, so she was on her way to Paris and to plead the case of Korean independence, and she was very likely poisoned.
Well, it doesn't sound out of character for that time period.
Well, yeah. So there was a lot of really bad stuff going on back then. But anyway, so she's someone who's given her life for Korean independence, while also being a leader of Korean girls, women's education.
Right.
And also she was the teacher of Yu Guan-sun, who is one of the most famous independence activists. Right. Everyone knows about Yu Guan-sun. I'm sure everyone in Korean school learns about her, but they don't learn about the person who taught her, which is Kim Dan-sa.
Well, see, that makes it really right for today of all days to talk about this book.
Teacher's Day,
And I'm curious though, like, what is the message that you wanted to convey to the readers of this book? Like, it wasn't strictly a historical lesson, but there must have been a message that you wanted to convey to your readers. Was there anything in particular you can think of?
I think mainly it's about these people. Like, pay attention to these people, particularly Kim Dan-sa and Yigang. And not all of that period is bad and needing of throwing out. So I think there's understandably an attitude here that the history of that time was kind of not something you want to think about. And so,
of course,
so that whole period, let's just kind of throw it out and then move on.
Right.
And actually, there's some quite heroic people who have been overlooked.
Yeah.
And so I want to kind of shine a light on them a little bit if I can.
See, that's really great. Like, just from the creative perspective, but also from the perspective of wanting to share Korean tradition, history, all that stuff. It's kind of what our show's about, culture crunch. But I did want to know though, so this book was originally written in English.
Yes.
So who exactly was like your target here? Was it foreigners or was it Korean people that maybe were unaware, or everybody, or
kind of both? I mean, so this was I guess a passion project from quite a long time ago. So after I met the guy Ishok I mentioned, this was 2012. I always had this idea in my mind. These royal descendants are really interesting, and they have sort of tragedy, and there's great emotion, and also just their lives are intertwined with great upheaval, and so you can tell a big story with one person's life, I think. So I'd always had this in mind from about 2012, but I'd been busy with work and life and what have you. And finally, when I started getting into the research quite a lot, but then when COVID hit in 2020, I think it was like February, March. I thought, okay, right, I'm really going to write this now. And so that's how I really started. So what was the question? I've gone over.
No, it was more like it was already written in English. Like, so who's your target audience? But I wanted to know if you thought about publishing it also overseas as well.
Yeah. So it was really a passion project. So I just wrote the story I wanted to write. But of course, as a native English speaker, as somebody who writes in English. I want it to be published. So far, the reaction is always in kind of British or American publishing. It's always it's a bit too Korean.
Right.
It's too. Especially, I'm obviously a foreigner.
Right.
I don't give the ring of authenticity. I guess. But anyway, I think I've done a good job. But so far there's not been much interest in it from US or UK.
Well, you know what?
But in Korea it's done okay.
No, I mean, a lot of people are even in our comment sections are kind of looking forward to hearing a little bit of this. But luckily, we are talking about a book, and you brought a little excerpt for us that you will read for us.
Okay.
All right, so I'm actually really excited to hear this because once again, I'm a big history buff. So we are going to briefly slip back into the past, into the times of the Korean Empire, as Daniel Tudor reads some excerpts from The Last Prince. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, let's do this. I'm ready.
The train had already been readied. This time, of course, Kang would not be on it. The guards would soon be taking him home, where he would remain until the Governor-General said otherwise. Arirang had been standing not quite next to, but not quite away from, the father of her son. She finally collapsed into his chest when the Governor-General gave the nod. Kang held her up as best he could, his fatigued arms quickly wearying under her weight. He motioned Woo over. The boy ran and embraced both his parents at once, his fingers almost digging through their clothes and into their flesh. There was a strength in him now that Kang had not noticed before. It was as though he was holding both of them up. He was too young to be a man, and yet, at that exact moment, he had been forced to become one. Arirang shook and wailed as Woo told her he loved her and that he would always be her son wherever in the world he may be. She ran her palms across his cheeks and forehead and kissed him again and again. There was a lifetime of words she wished to say to him, but her grieving, quaking body would not allow her to articulate even one. Still holding on to his mother's shoulder, Woo turned around to face the Governor-General and his subordinates. He straightened his back and stood as tall as he could. Kang stared at his son, whose face was now a sculpture of focused rage and certainty. My boy. The adults were a sea of tears. The boy spoke. I am Iu of Korea. Even if you send me away for 100 years, I am Iu of Korea.
Just listening to it, you can kind of, when I say that you get transferred back in time, that you can definitely feel that. And of course, those that are unfamiliar with many of these people in Korean history in this really turbulent time. For example, the Governor-General that constantly pops up in here is a big figure in Korean history. And also, of course, just the royal family in general. Being able to visit some of these people that maybe the public, people, aside from historians, are not that familiar with, is something that I think really helps in kind of grasping the situation of Korea at that time. Now, I heard that the preparation for this book did take 5 years to make. That is a long time for a book, I must say. But because it is a historical novel, you do have to thoroughly research. You can't just, even though it is considered a fact and fiction book, there still needs to be a lot of, you can't just fabricate historical facts, So I'm wondering, is there any person in particular that you remember that really sticks in your mind? Someone that really, just was, kind of just lingers in your mind to this day?
So there were several, but the most important one, I think, is actually the daughter of the Prince Igang. Her name is Lee Hae-kyung, and actually she's still alive.
Yeah.
So he had lots of children, actually. But I think a small number are still with us.
Right.
And Lee Hae-kyung actually is, I think she's maybe 93, 94 years old now. And but still, very sharp and very articulate and so on, and remembers her life, remembers everything that happened, and she actually lives in the U.S. in New York.
Oh, she lives in New York. Oh, okay. So this is in the States then. Did you meet her in the States or in the meet her in Korea?
So I interviewed her over the phone a couple of times, long interviews, and then she came to Korea. This was maybe 2 years ago. She came to Korea. And so these were a bunch of flowers that me and my wife gave to her to say thank you for.
Well, the Korean royal family, a lot of people don't know this, but as a personal historian myself, a lot of them are still around, and they still hold ancestral rites every May in Jongmyo, where they have all the king's traditional tablets. But there's there's a lot to learn, and but the fact that you were able to connect with a member of the former royal family
lucky,
for this book is really something that's quite incredible as an author.
Yeah.
But aside from that, what do you think was something that was very difficult, like something that you found challenging, whether it be research or the creative process or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, both of those. I mean, those are the two main ones, I would say. The research aspect. So first of all, it's a period of history that's not, surprisingly undocumented, I would say. And there's a lot of stories that are, probably this is true, but we can't prove it exactly, and this is just hearsay, and this is, it's hard to.
It's muddy.
Really
it gets really muddy. Yeah.
Where is the documentary evidence for A and B and C? Often there is none.
Right.
And so you're just going on stories.
And I'm curious.
There's a language aspect.
No, so that's what I was going to ask. So I'm curious because, at that time, of course, only the very, very educated people were able to read and write, a lot at that time, So, but a lot of that stuff is written not in Hangul, but written in, the older style, like Hanja and stuff like that. And you have to really, really be good at it to read some of those old documents and old sources and stuff. So I wondered if you had problems with that. I'd imagine you did.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I'm restricted to Korean, Hangul.
Right.
And of course English.
Hey, me too. I'm
not very good with old, classical or Hanja or whatever. But there are actually a lot. There are quite a few books in Korean that didn't really sell. They're just kind of long forgotten books, but. Books written by people who studied that period, or what have the royal descendants been doing? And Lee Hae-kyung Yosa herself, she's written 2 autobiographies.
Oh, really?
Also, one book about her father and one book about her own life.
I might have to get that.
So definitely very, very interesting. So there are some sources out there, and also there are people who you can. So, for example, there's a lady called Han Bok-ryo, who's it's a strange situation, but she's kind of inherited this cultural designation from the Korean government. So there was a restaurant that was run by a lady who'd actually worked at the palace, and so it was serving traditional, like real traditional palace food in the way that it was done. And then her daughter inherited that restaurant, and then. The lady I knew, this Han Bok-ryo, she'd also worked there. Right. And after I think the death of the daughter, she'd kind of taken the mantle of, she's now effectively the guardian of this palace food culture, and she's quite well known. Anyway, so I interviewed her about. How would you serve this? How would you serve that? What
so
kind of alcohol would there be?
Went like very, very deep into like the research process. But during all of this, though, I'm kind of curious about because we did mention that you are recently the father of a second daughter. But what about your wife? Like, how is the situation going? When you're doing all this, you're busy, of course. And when it comes to your wife, how was she? Was she a help? Did she help a lot? Like,
Actually, so I wrote this book in English, as we mentioned, and then the task was to get it out in Korea, to get a good Korean translation. So got a translator who did a pretty good job, but very, I would say, kind of an academic translation almost. It was very, very good on historical details and getting the right vocabulary for everything. But when it came to jokes or just kind of
colloquialized
casual talk between characters. It was a little bit, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. So together we sat down. After our first daughter, Arya, she was maybe 3 months old or 2 or 3 months old at that point. And we'd get her down to sleep. So babies at that age, they sleep for about 2 hours, then they wake up, they cry, you need to feed them. And so it's a cycle, a never-ending cycle. It seems.
Of course.
So between feeds, we'd get her down to sleep, and we'd go to our kitchen table, and I'd point out things on the manuscript. Look, what I was saying was this, but actually the translator has written that. So I want to say A. How do I say A in a very natural way? And so my wife will go, okay, well, let's do
Well,
it. She would tell me.
Yeah, I'd imagine that you also probably learned a lot of Korean while
Yeah,
doing
right,
this
right,
as
right.
well. You know, especially
Yeah, yeah.
some of that old-timey language. Like, it's hard to understand.
Yeah,
but we actually have to have you draw your life graph here soon. You ready for this? You're
Okay.
going to have a whole different introspective look
Okay.
into your life. So, of course, we have Daniel Tudor with us in the studio. A very fascinating talk about, being the author of a historical Korean novel. We are going to listen to a song while Daniel does draw his life graph. This is Until the End by Park Eun-bin.
작은 가방 하나 메고 구름 따라 걷는 길 파란 하늘 덮고 누워 춤추는 나무와 노래해 저기 위에 떠가는 구름이 굽비를 내려도 뭐 어때 상관없어 막 구부러진 길 또 오르막길 그 어디라도 걸어갈래 Till the end 그곳에 숨겨진 보물 따위는 없어도 돼 사실 그건 지금 내가 걷는 이 길에 뿌려져 있거든 하얀 마음들을 적어 종이배를 접어띄워 저곳 어딘가에다 그곳도 하얘지기를 저기 위에 떠가는 구름이 바람을 던져도 뭐 어때 상관없어 막 구부러진 길 또 오르막길 그 어디라도 걸어갈래 Till the end 그곳에 숨겨진 보물 따위는 없어도 돼 사실 그건 지금 내가 걷는 이 길에 뿌려져 있거든 풀잎 하나 들꽃마저 햇살을 담은 아름다운 거리 어두워질 때 더 빛나는 별빛들 내 머리 위로 비춰주며 따라와 Till the end 그곳에 숨겨진 보물 따위는 없어도 돼 사실 그건 지금 내가 걷는 이 길에 Till the end 무지개를 타고 baby 구름 위에 너를 넘어 마법 같은 하루 선물해줄 거야 yeah 나랑 같이 가지 않을래
All right, you are watching and listening Culture Crunch here on Arirang Radio and TV. And of course, today is Creme de la Creme. We have Daniel Tudor in the studio with us today talking about, his novel, his life. And it's very fascinating. Now, I did want to briefly ask, you do have a very diverse background when it comes to the type of jobs that you've held. So can you please get into a little bit about that? Like, I'm sure that, I don't know if you were writing the whole time, but I want to kind of know what you were up to before that.
So I first came to Korea to work or live in 2004. I taught English for a year, as many young Westerners
The
did
gateway,
at that time.
you know?
Yeah. I always thought I'll go back home after a year. And,
Right.
I'll make this my gap year, my fun year. I'll go back home. But then I got offered this job at an investment company. So I was trading stocks for a living for about a year and a half. That company went bankrupt. And so then I joined a Korean asset management firm.
Okay.
And they didn't go bankrupt, but anyway, I didn't really enjoy working there. It was a very kind of, I don't know, back then would have been different to now.
Of course.
But also, coming from the UK and working in a Korean company with very kind
it's
of
a very different work, work
yeah.
culture that you would have somewhere in the West, you know.
Right. So I didn't really like it. So I was there for about, I don't know, like 7 or 8 months. And then I went home. I did an MBA degree. So
Okay.
I was always kind of focused on business more. Money, but, then I halfway through my MBA, I had to do an internship. So you always do an internship midway through.
Right.
And somehow I ended up making a complete left turn and going to The Economist.
Oh, okay. As a article.
So I mean,
writer.
I always read The Economist, and I read newspapers and everything really since I was a kid. I was on The Economist website one day, and a banner pops up, like, internships with The Economist.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Why not try? You know. And it was the final day as well. There was one day to go, and I just.
So you did then, you're working at The Economist then, you did have a lot of experience while it wasn't, fiction writing. You had experience writing, articles and stuff like that, for The Economist,
Yeah, I mean,
correct?
I've been writing, I say professionally since 2010.
Okay.
But the big thing, I guess, for me was university. So my degree subject is philosophy, politics, and economics. And the way they teach that, or the way we do it, is every week you're writing essays. So,
So you get lots of writing practice
right.
That makes sense.
So even if what you say is completely empty and pointless,
right.
at least it's well expressed.
So that's a good way to express things, but I think that can translate in a lot of ways to, fiction as well. Being able to find the right word, being able to the right nuance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to briefly go back because you did mention that the first time you ever came here was for the 2002 Korea-Japan World Cup, and that's kind of when you first felt drawn into Korea.
Yeah.
But what exactly at that time caught your attention? Because the Korea of 2002 and the Korea of now is
very different.
Very different. So what caught your attention?
Okay, so I think the atmosphere of the time was very much like everyone's your brother and your sister. I don't know, were you around at that point?
Oh, no, I wasn't in Korea, but of course, having Korean family, of course, we watched it,
Yeah, and the atmosphere was crazy in a wonderful way, and it was so much kind of... it felt like the whole country was dancing, the whole country was drunk, the whole country was having fun.
Well, you know what? I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really was. And just to be part of that, and to know nothing about this place and come here, and wow, this is amazing. Yeah.
Well, I will say though, at the time it was a very like kumbaya, like everybody together, that sort of thing. But of course, a lot of English people are very passionate about football or soccer.
Sure.
Were you originally a fan? Like, were you into it?
I mean, somewhat. The reason I came was actually the guy on the right, Bae Jin-myung. He was my best friend at university. He grew up in the UK, but he's Korean. His dad worked for a company that was sponsoring the World Cup.
Okay.
And he got some tickets, I think.
I don't know. Those are looking like good seats, so I'm seeing a little something there.
Right. He said one day to me and these other guys, our friends, like, "Oh, do you want to come and see the World Cup in Korea?" Yeah, of course.
What a great way to get there. Now, of course, you did go to the World Cup and then you came back later to live here, correct? That's the progression, right? So I'm wondering though, if you moving from the country that you were born in to a completely foreign country, no matter how fun, how nice it is, for your life, you're going to have a few maybe, I want to say regrets, or do you have anything like that when it comes to moving to a completely foreign country like Korea?
There's certain things I miss, obviously. I mean, my family sometimes. I miss the English pub. It's
nice beer. And
you can't compare it to any other kind of pub. It's just a beautiful atmosphere.
Well, and they do have like pubs here in Korea, but I've been to the UK and I know that it ain't like that, But but I mean, you've lived here for so long, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show. That you lived here for so long. I kind of want to know, like, have you ever had a moment where you're like, oh, I'm like a Korean now. I feel Korean now. Like, I know that's like a loaded question because you're not Korean, but like, have you ever felt that? Like, you feel included. You feel like you're part of the family of Korea, Korean family.
Let me think. I mean, these days our daughter's going to the nursery, 어린이집, and before we started taking her, I was kind of worried, like, oh, what's it going to be like? Because she's mixed,
right,
and also she looks more like me than my wife.
Oh, okay.
Like she looks like, if she's with me, you would just think she's a white British kid.
Oh, okay.
And so I was kind of, is she going to be different there or whatever? But actually, they've been really, really, really nice, and had no problems whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean,
so that makes me feel, that's very positive. Yeah.
As a mixed person myself,
Yeah.
I've seen the progression of how things have changed
Yeah.
for people like me and people like your daughters.
Yeah.
Korea's a very nice place. That's
Yeah.
But you know what? I have a feeling that's going to tie in a little bit with your life graph that you have drawn here. It looks like what do you call it at the hospital? You get one of those things.
Yeah.
So
Or your heart's
I kind of
about to go.
beep beep beep. But I kind of wanted to here on this on Creme de la Creme, we do this with every single guest, and I kind of wanted you to look at your life graph and kind of go through it chronologically and explain what the dips and rises are in your life graph, starting at age 0 on your very detailed graph.
All right, so basically, I never liked school.
Okay.
I mean, I was quite,
Evidently.
I was quite good at school apparently, but I never really enjoyed it. I was a bit kind of. Well, it's that Korean word, enilgani, right? Like someone who's like 13 going on 30. I was like the old man kid.
Okay.
Who maybe read books or listened to old music and wasn't really fighting or climbing trees and being macho,
Right.
So school was always a bit kind of. I wouldn't say I was an outcast, but I mean, I had friends and that, but it wasn't like I was the cool kid in school. And I just didn't really enjoy people telling me what to do either, like teachers and and so even now, like I think part of the reason I've always tried to do my own stuff, like start my own business or write books or whatever, is that I don't want to work for other people. I don't want other people telling me what to do.
Right.
So
you're your own boss.
Yeah. So when you're a kid, you're inevitably people are going to tell you what to do. University was the first experience of being free and. Wow, there's people like me who we can talk about stuff that I find interesting. What have you. We can stay up all night. And so that there was a liberation, but also a awakening of interests, like books and music and so
Is
on.
that where that first spike is? Is that university?
Yeah. That's like the first spike, brother. So
Your first spike was in university, and then it suddenly drops back almost down to when you were like a kid.
Yeah, I think
so. What's that about?
Well, first of all, you get used to certain things. You get used to the freedom, right?
Right.
But then I think my early 20s were kind of a time of I had no money and I was kind of a bit lost. I mean, I came to Korea because I like Korea, but I was doing work that I wasn't really enjoying, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with life.
Right.
So I was a bit kind of. I suppose a lot of people at that age will be like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Weren't we all at that point though? You know what I mean? You're always trying to figure stuff out. You know.
I mean, at this age, you look at your 20s. Or you look at people in their 20s. Oh, I'm so jealous of. They can just do whatever they want. They have fun. They're young. Blah blah blah. But it's not really like that, is it?
No. Not at all. I can say that. Listen, my 30s are way better than my 20s.
Right. And so the next spike is actually when I became a journalist.
Oh, okay. The Economist, right?
Right. So I was 27 then. So most of my favorite rock stars and people like that, they leave this world at 27. But I think I was born at 27. Right. So yeah, 27. Work for the Economist, and then suddenly I'm meeting really interesting people. Like I'm interviewing them. I'm writing stories about them, and I'm kind of, I guess, developing a perspective on life and the world that I didn't have before. And so life becomes a bit more. It's going from black and white TV to color TV or something like that.
It's like a big whoop, like a sudden.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm doing the things I want to do. I'm happy. Then over time, I guess you get used to it a little bit. Then I left. I started a couple of businesses.
Okay.
And with I suppose that. This bit should have been a bit more spiky.
Right. They're there. They're just really small. You can see
I should have.
them.
I was trying to be. I was simplifying a bit, maybe. It's a bit more spiky around there because any kind of startup.
Of course, it's going to be a lot of stress and stuff. But then it dips again, hardcore. Not as bad as when you were a kid, but then it dips a little bit. What is that? Is that like that period?
So I went through a period of now I'm in my late 30s and kind of what exactly am I doing? And so I'd left one of the companies I'd started, and I was trying to write a different novel at the time. It hadn't gone well, and I'm in my late 30s. I mean, probably most people at that point like, oh, you should get married and so on. Right? So I suppose there was a bit of that in there. Although I never really felt like that myself, but society gives you a certain pressure, right? So a bit of that, a bit of what am I doing with my life again?
Right.
And then, go on.
Yeah, but when you go up again, I'm assuming that's where you found your this recent book that you've done, and then also your kids have entered your life recently.
Yeah,
Is that
right.
kind of
I think
where everything...
being a dad, that's a big part of it, and I have more of a sense now. I'm kind of on track, and I'm doing things I want to do.
Right.
I think you can always be more successful, and I'd say that I'm doing the things I'm exactly doing the things I wanted to do, but just not quite as successfully as I wanted.
Well, listen,
there's time,
Yeah, there's time, and there's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
And now that you've kind of figured out, exactly like where your passions lie.
Right.
Sometimes it takes decades to do that, and it seems like you have found that. So, I do want to ask, of course, is that have you ever done a life graph like this before?
Can't say I have, no.
Kevin, it's a new thing for you, right?
Yeah.
So what's it like, looking, having to, with your own hand, draw your life like on a graph? Like, how does that feel to you? Does it feel weird?
Kind of scary when you guys first asked me to do it, but now I've done it. Actually, it's not bad then, is it? Because it's gone up over time, right?
Yeah.
So, reason to be positive.
Yeah,
so I'm glad you asked me to do it.
Yeah, no, because I mean, it's really introspective when you get into your life. Now, I just wanted to quickly mention a comment that we have here. It says, Kadori says, "A up, this guy from Yorkshire. Are you from Yorkshire?"
I'm not, but I'm from next to Yorkshire.
Okay, 'cause, I mean, I guess you can kind of tell by
A
the
up. That was A up. That's it's like hello. How you doing?
Oh, is it?
That's Yorkshire for. That's kind of Yorkshire for like hello.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. So. That's what's your driving force though to continue writing? Like, there's got to be something pushing you from behind. What's your driving force? Like, what keeps you motivated, or what keeps you inspired?
I think I want to communicate with people. So I'm writing another book now. It's a non-fiction book about the low birth rate issue. So a very journalistic thing.
Is this your next book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's. I think that's about trying to understand why people think. Why are people making the decision not to have children?
Right. Yeah. It is, of course, something that is.
So going out interviewing people or meeting academics as well and studying the issue, and then coming up with this is why I think it is based on what people have been telling me, and here's a book on it. And so trying to be a conduit of information and people ideas, and then put something out there that hopefully connects with people and say, okay, this is what's going on, and this is the root of problem X, Y, Z, and what can we do about it? Kind of.
So that's the low birth rate and the psychological effects of that is of course the plans for your next book. Do we have like a time frame, I guess you could say, for like when you might be wanting to release this, or are you just going to take your time?
I think next year.
Next year. Okay.
So write it this year. I mean, I'm writing it with a co-author. There's a guy called Stuart Gittel-Baston. He's a demographer and a very respected and big one. And he's based in Hong Kong, actually. But anyway, he's an academic. He brings actual knowledge and expertise. I bring writing, and so we can put it together.
It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I think we'll be able to do it by the end of the year and then get it out next year. So I'm talking to publishers now, and there's a lot more interest in this book than in.
Well, I mean, it's a thing that is
topic.
worrying to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, all people, I guess, here in Korea.
Yeah.
So. Definitely. I must say though that your topics for the books that you write are like you got one at A and you got one at like 19. Like it's like you got so many different things that your mind is going to. But it seems like you're very tied into Korean everything, history. This is more of a social issue. That we're kind of dealing with these days.
So this is, I guess, a book that would connect Korea with the rest of the world.
Right.
Because Korea is unfortunately, the center of not having kids now.
Yeah.
And in some way, Korea is showing us the future. So Korea has developed such a quick rate, and if you look at Korea in 2025, I think it's way more advanced in a lot of ways than, say, my country in terms of technology and.
I would say so, actually.
Yeah. And so a lot of the ways that young people think and behave are quite further on, I would say, than they are in my country. And so maybe Korea is offering a signpost to the future.
Right. Definitely.
In good ways and bad ways. And so I think we can learn from, we as outsiders, if I'm calling,
It's like a model. It's, you take it
Yeah.
and you look at it as a model, you know, of what could come to
Yeah.
other developed countries.
Right.
Okay, so that being said, you know, of course, you're writing about the history, which we talked about today, the history of
Yeah,
Korea. Also, you know, social issues going on. But this is our official question for Thursdays here on Culture Crunch, and this is the question. What does writing mean to you? It doesn't have to be a one-word answer, but what is writing to you?
I think communication.
Communication.
Yeah.
Okay.
So making a connection with other people.
Right.
So, for example, the novel, I think it's about trying to understand how. So in the case of a historical novel, it's
Right.
people who actually existed, trying to understand the psychology of those people. What would they have been like? What would it be like to sit down with this guy or this person?
Well, you would know. You did sit down
Well,
with me.
yeah. Well, so if I could meet Igang, what would he be like? What clothes would he wear? What kind of jokes would he make? You know, would he have any weird tics? Would he like, scratch his chin, or what would he do? So I'm trying to imagine things like that. So trying to picture a person in my mind. But imagine them even as a friend or someone who's in your life.
Right.
But then also to make a connection with the reader. So I think my first book was a general introduction to Korea.
Okay.
It was called Korea, the Impossible Country. That book, I think it did pretty well. And over time, I've met people, just a few people, who've said, I read your book and it made me want to come to Korea. And
See,
that was the
that's
greatest
goal,
compliment.
you know?
Because it's I reached somebody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you know, communication, that's a really good way to put it. Writing is communication. We are actually all out of time. I wish we had more time because I'm really digging this interview. Like, you're fascinating, everything about, you know, your story, your writings and everything. But yes, of course, we are out of time here on Creme de la Creme on Culture Crunch today. I'll be sending you off with a song today. I hope to have you back in the studio again. This is really fascinating. This is all about, I'm loving this. So we're going to be sending off Daniel Tudor out with a song today. You guys all tune in tomorrow at Culture Crunch. You know where I am. And you know what time I'll be here, so hope to see you guys all tomorrow. All right, so we are going to listen to Crash by Reese Hen, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
찬란하게 부서질 듯한 밤 오랜 시간 움츠린 나에게 안녕히 작별인 살 건널 타이밍 bye bye 새로운 느낌 moving elderly 투명한 경련 너머로 내게 손짓하는 tomorrow it's the time 마침 내게 들려 나조차 날 모르던 어지러운 감정에 길을 잃어가던 나 눈물을 흘리듯 시끄러운 고요 넘어 간지럽게 들려오던 기쁜 떨림 I feel it always by your side 변하는 설렘 follow 나갈래 빛의 틈으로 Now I fly 난 자유롭게 떠 나를 채워가는 fabulous 틈새 작아지는